Welcome Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet, currently second in points with 5 wins, coming off a win last weekend in Dover. Jimmie, talk a little bit about being in Kansas this weekend.
And just excited to be back to the racetrack. You always want to come back after you have a good win. The mile-and-a-half stuff has been good to the 48 team. I wish we would have closed a few more wins during the regular season on the mile-and-a-halfs, but we've had good speed. Yesterday, after working through the new tire, we got the car more comfortable and some speed out of it, but I still think there's a lot of learning to do and truthfully a lot of evolving for all the teams through today's practice and then into tomorrow's. The tire acts different. I think it's achieving what Goodyear wants to have happen, so directionally it's a good move, but it's just different. It's just going to take us time to get all the speed out of it that we're wanting to have and understanding the tire exactly like we need to. But I thought yesterday was good. I'm very thankful that NASCAR gave us the extra time and gave us a nice head start on the weekend.
Okay, we'll take questions now for Jimmie. We'll start with Dean, then come up to Claire.
Dean McNulty, Toronto Sun. Jimmie, with the points, every point magnified during the chase, how important, is it more important to qualify better in the chase than normal in the regular season?
Yeah, track position is so important that, because things are condensed. Makes your day so much easier when you qualify well and you have a good pit stall and start up front. This track, there's a very good chance there will be fuel strategy and tire strategy coming into play, and that jumbles things up. Some tracks, you expect it to be a big issue for qualifying to play out, and it doesn't turn out. It kind of goes back and forth, but at the end of the day, we all know the importance of it, and you want that on your side. It just makes a big difference. And if you start deep in the field, you get the top 5, and then if you get a chance at clean air, it usually takes you a stop or two to get your car dialed in. And anymore, it takes so long to get to the front that you don't have a stop or two left at the end to really challenge for the lead, from an adjustment standpoint. So qualifying is uber important.
We'll take our next question from Claire. Go ahead.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. After the tire test yesterday, you had one driver, Matt Kenseth, say, I wish I would have kept the original tire. Another driver like Jeff Gordon saying he really likes it. It was a Thursday test. There's practice on Saturday. How much of a game changer for the teams running in the chase is this tire situation, even after a Thursday practice, if somebody is struggling?
I think we have enough time to sort it out. From the Hendrick side, when we started, we were kind of split in different areas. I think the 24 came off the truck real good. We weren't very good, but we were able to get there at the end. So I think in time, especially the 20 team and the Gibbs cars, if they're not happy, I'm pretty confident they'll get there by race time. It's different, the things that we do, what we expect out of the old tire and what it's capable of, it's just different with this tire. And it's a matter of finding what it likes.
Okay, we'll take a question from Bob, Jeff, and then Stan.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. James Hilton's racing in his last race tonight in the ARCA race. He's 79. What do you hope to be doing when you're 79?
Breathing. It's so awesome. He's a stud. I think Earl's even spotting for him tonight. So excited for him. Every time I see him out there in that 48, it puts a big smile on my face. So he got the number off to a good start, and he's going to run it well tonight, I'm sure. But at 79, it's amazing. He's truly passionate and loves our sport, and it's nice to see him out there one last time.
All right, we'll take our next question from Jeff, then come up to Stan.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. Jimmie, you've won 5 championships, obviously, a zillion wins, it seems like, and yet you still come out and you're just as competitive as ever, maybe more so. Where does the motivation come from on a weekly basis to keep coming up, showing up and working out and working hard, doing all the things that you probably do behind the scenes that we don't see? Where do you draw that from? Where's that coming from that makes you want to keep going, not just, you could probably just come out and coast and say, I'm here for my sponsors, whatever.
I think a lot of it's just in my DNA, in the type of person I am, and the family I grew up in. I go back through my grandparents, great-grandparents, just all hardworking people, you know. So I think I grew up in that environment and around it. I feel that, you know, now married with kids, and much more mature than when I started, there's an element in that that is bringing more focus, more drive. I think that the work ethic, granted there's less time, you know, I have more things on my plate, but the time that I do a lot to train, the time that I do a lot for, you know, working with the team and coming to the track, just much more focused. And I think structure of family and kids and all of that plays some kind of role in there too, you know, mixes with the work ethic I was raised with. So somewhere in the mixture of those things is where it comes from. But I am happy when I accomplish things. I'm happy when I make lists all the time, and when I scratch things off my list, even if it's honey-do lists or goals I make for myself, I just have that mindset where I like to work through things and accomplish things.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Stan, then go to Brant.
Stan Creekmore with RPMtonight.com. Jimmie, way back in the past, Dale Earnhardt Sr. talked about how the tires always talked to him, and that he always ran best when the tire talked to him the best. And there was a time period when it didn't. Jeff Gordon yesterday agreed, yeah, that there were, early in his career, there were times the tire talked really well to him, and now it doesn't talk so well. When you were in the car yesterday, was that tire talking to you as good as any other tire has ever talked to you before, or has that been part of your struggle, you know, over the last 2 years?
When you first started your question, I was thinking more of the radial era. I'm sorry, the bias ply era. You know, I ran on bias plies in ASA for the 2 years I ran there, and then from then on I've been on radials. In, you know, bias ply, there is a big window of grip that you can feel and adjust the car. You know, the sidewall is very flexible, so once you slip the tire, literally the sidewall on a radial, it's so stiff that once it slips, it stands up, and then the tire has to start over and grip again and let the sidewall fold. That aspect, I think, challenges all drivers. You know, the radial era, I love watching some old footage, and I think there's something in my mind of Senior at Charlotte smoking the right rear tire all the way through turns 1 and 2. I mean, you cannot do that with a radial tire. It just doesn't happen. So I might not have the best opinion of all of that because I didn't really drive in that era on these tracks. The radial, you feel a lot of grip, but you know right behind that real nice grip level you have, there's a cliff on the other side. So we all generally drive a little more on edge now and a little more concerned with, you know, what's on the back side of this. I'm being really greedy right now. What's next? And that's just the world of radial tires that we live in. And yesterday, I didn't feel, you know, the tire, in my opinion, just has a lot less grip than what we had here before, what we've been on 1.5 miles. And that inside edge is a lot harder compound, and then it's softer on the way out. So where we, you know, make our money through the corner, it is a slower tire right now, and that's the part that I felt yesterday. It was just the lack of grip that it had. So it was very friendly. It didn't have that sharp drop off, but it just didn't have a ton of grip. They're always talking to you. Sometimes you're arguing with them, but when things are hooked up and rolling, and I think kind of what you're alluding to, you can feel on a very soft compound, and the tire will really tell you where its grip level is and what you feel. And anymore, the only time you feel that is in a tire test, when they try something soft. But we usually end up on a much harder compound where you're guessing. You think it's talking to you, but you just don't know. And the downside to it is the penalty. Once you lose control and once you cross that line, it's really severe.
All right, we'll finish up with Brant, Jim, and Dean.
Brant James, ESPN.com. Knowing it's still early in the chase, is there any way that the field, be it Jeff or Hardwick, whoever, reels that sort of breakaway group back in unless you collectively or individually have that disaster finish with a part or a crash? Can just racing and, you know, knocking out finishes, can they catch you guys?
I think there's enough racing left. Somebody gets hot and the others cool off. I mean, was it 30 points back to fourth? 30 something?
39.
I mean, the numbers change a little when you're chasing 3 people instead of 1, but you know, if we all start running 7th or 8th, and somebody gets hot, you know, they can make up points. So I still think it's possible, largely because there's 7 left. You know, it starts shifting dramatically as we get deeper in the season, but with 7 left, there's still a lot of opportunity for those guys.
Next question, go ahead, Jim.
Yes, Jim Pedley with RacingToday.com. Jimmie, since the reconfiguration of this track, are the engines working harder here? Are you turning more RPMs? And if so, does that become a worry for you guys that are out front about engine wear and engine durability?
Yeah, for sure. In NASCAR, changed the rear end gear ratio to kind of help everybody coming here. I think that we could have the other gear with this tire. You know, the tire doesn't have the grip that we anticipated, and our max RPM yesterday was quite a bit lower than maybe what everyone thought it would be. You know, when we get in the draft, we suck up pretty hard down the front straightaway to the car in front of us. Gear we just might catch the chip in a race environment for a lap or 2, but in general, the RPM's pretty low based on the rule change, and that will help all the engine shops breathe a little easier through the course of the race. Yeah.
Dean McNulty, Toronto Sun again. Is it too early, with just 4 races in, for you to be, during the race, do you want to know where Kansas is? The 8 points, are you thinking about that while you're in the car in the race?
Yeah, you pay attention for sure. In first couple races, it was really easy to see where he and the 18 were. I was chasing them. They're up front. Last week, I didn't find myself too worried about it. I knew they were going to have a great day, and you know, they both finished in the top 10. But I guess it's not that point of the year yet where you're totally worried. You get to Homestead, Phoenix. Yeah, I mean, looking at the scoring pylon whenever you can, and really focused on where they are. But not so much just yet, because there's just a lot of racing left.